Welcome to episode 35 of the Whatnauts Review Show, where each week we pick a story and we talk about it. Could be a movie, TV series, anime, manga, comic book, audio show, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, we read it, we listen to it, we do what we need to do, and then we come back here and we talk about it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined, as always, by my co-captain, Kyle Springer.
Howdy.
Kyle, how are you this week?
I'm good. I don't know if you saw me make a weird face as you were talking there. I have two cups on my desk, one on each side, and one has my Mountain Dew and one is empty, and I forgot which one was which. So I reached for one and I picked it up and it was empty, and I was like, ugh, wrong one. This one. So that's how my day is so far.
Morning struggles. Did you do anything for the Thanksgiving holiday?
Yeah, it was small. It was just me and my roommates, and then one of my roommates had a friend come over, and then it was also my other roommate's father who came. We had a little small get together, made a bunch of food. It was fantastic. We went non-traditional. We didn't do turkey. We didn't do ham. My roommate made like a apple pecan roasted pork loin.
Ooh.
And it was really good.
Oh, man.
It was awesome. So, what did you do?
Uh, Thanksgiving Day itself was just real quiet. I just went over to my parents' house and watched the parade, and then we have like a big family Thanksgiving. I mean, it's the smaller side of the family, so it's a total of like 10 people.
Yeah.
But it's like that's the Thanksgiving. It's at my aunt's house every year.
Okay.
And then after that, we went to Santa's Magical Kingdom, which is a drive-through like light show sort of thing that places will put up around Christmas
Okay.
time, except it's absolutely bonkers. Like it's all the beautiful Christmas lights, and then it just gets weird. Then it just gets trippy.
Yeah, I was imagining something a lot more weird and something I probably shouldn't comment on, but that's okay.
It's like it's at this place called Jellystone Park, which is just a local like park, forest, cabin, hiking area that has like the Yogi Bear license. So
I was
that's why
gonna
it's called.
say,
Yeah,
that
Jellystone
sounds like there'd
Park.
be a lot of picnic baskets hanging around there.
And so they still have all these licenses and they still use them in the Christmas light show, but they don't know what to do with any of them. And all of them are just painted like plywood standees.
Yeah.
So there'll be like a penguin village, and like then there's Ranger Smith. And like it's got like a whole bunch of Hanna-Barbera stuff, not just Yogi Bear. So like, there's Shaggy next to like a polar bear. There's like a penguin village, and then like there's all of
Shaggy,
the
I don't think
Jetsons.
that's Scooby.
Yeah. And it's got like sort of this Christmas like sweets Wonderland area, but it's like a big sundae with like a face on it and a box of M&Ms with legs. And this year they added a whole like alien path where it's like space aliens love Santa, and it's all these gloopy like furry one-eyed just like weird old aliens just like
What?
I'm telling you, Kyle, there's no place like this that I have ever heard of anywhere else. It is the weirdest holiday light show you will ever drive through.
Santa's Magical Funland sounds,
Santa's Magical Kingdom, right in Eureka, Missouri.
yeah, sounds like an interesting time.
So that was the kickoff to my holiday season was that.
There you go. Good stuff then.
And
Good
speaking
stuff.
of weird things,
Yes.
the topic for this week was the movie Little Shop of Horrors. This is a 1986 sci-fi comedy musical about a carnivorous plant from space, directed by Frank Oz, starring Rick Moranis, Ellen Greene, and Steve Martin.
Yeah.
I pitched you three musicals
You did.
because
I have no musical talent and or experience. Actually, it's kind of funny. My like 15 minutes of internet fame came because of some music that I made.
Uh-huh.
And then it left before the 15 minutes expired. So it wasn't even really 15
What was this?
minutes. I like making beats and stuff, like hip hop style beats.
Yeah.
And I have some equipment to do it. I haven't done it in a long, long time, but I was making a Toonami beat tape back in the day,
Oh.
so I was sampling a bunch of the cartoons and making beats and stuff like that, and it was right around the time that the new incarnation of Toonami was coming back, and so I was like, I was promoting it and all that stuff, and eventually when it came out, Jason DeMarco, who is the creative director of Adult Swim and
Yeah.
Toonami, found it because he also did a lot of the music, or like the unofficial stuff. And he was like, dude, this is awesome. This is dope. And he started tweeting about it and stuff. And I made a small amount of
Oh.
change off of it. I was just
Ooh.
thankful that they didn't sue me or anything for sampling all of these TV shows. But yeah, so that was that.
Oh, fun
But
story.
I cannot read and or write music at all. I'm an art major, so it's just like I can recognize patterns.
Yeah.
And so I would make it based off of that stuff. I was like, this all sounds good together.
So you do not have a lot of musical experience. And this is a musical I know very well. Like I watched it a lot as a kid. I grew up with the soundtrack. I've seen it live a couple times. So I knew what to expect. Kyle, what did you
Yes.
think about this thing?
This was very fun.
Good, I'm glad.
I wasn't expecting it to be this fun. Or at least, I take that back. I wasn't expecting me to be as into it as I was.
Yes.
Because when I think musicals, it's not really me. It's not my style. It's not what I would prefer to watch. They're definitely, like, they can definitely be fun, but there's this, like, chipperness to them that's just, like, it's a little off-putting to me. Like, why is everyone so happy? What is going on here? This is
Okay,
so
I see
strange.
that.
And yeah, and this I think was goofy enough
Yes.
where it's like, okay, this it isn't a musical about kids in high school. You know, it's about a fucking alien who came down to Earth and is eating people. Like that. That's like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief anyways. You know, so I think that helps get me into it. But I watched it yesterday, which today is Sunday morning. That we are recording this, and it was pouring rain, and so it was a good like Saturday stay in bed and watch this movie while it rains outside. It was good. It was fun.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed this.
Yeah, I forgot how much I like Rick Moranis.
He's so perfect in this.
He's amazing.
He's a treasure. So, for the audience who might not be familiar with this movie, it's actually based off like an old, just black and white, schlocky, straight horror film. I think maybe.
think this said it was based off of a like a book or a novel that the movie was based off of.
Well,
And
I'm
then-
getting there.
I don't
Okay.
know. You know
Okay.
more than me.
I think the original movie might have also been called Little Shop of Horrors. It was some old, like, if not Roger Corman, like somebody else like Roger Corman, just like pulpy B movie
It was him.
nonsense. Just sort of a forgettable monster movie of like the 50s. And then it was written as a Broadway musical. And
Okay.
like the script of a musical is called a book.
Sure.
So like if you see a musical, say like music and lyrics by this person, book by this person. So I don't think it's based off a book. Like it's like
Okay.
yeah, this was turned into like an
That makes sense.
off-Broadway stage musical.
Actually,
And
it
then
doesn't
that-
make sense, but I know what you're saying. Why call it a book? That's just confusing. Books are books, okay?
I
Don't-
don't know.
don't
I'm
change
not
books.
The Broadway captain.
It's like The Incredibles 2. Math is math. Why don't change math? Why would they change math? Okay. So it's
Yeah, and
not like an actual like novel book, but
yes.
like based off of a Broadway play
Mhm.
type of thing. Okay.
Yeah, like this weird off-Broadway like musical these people made, and then that is what got turned into this movie, which is a full-on musical, and it's set in just this little like this area of New York City or some metropolitan place that's
It
like
looks like
this.
New York.
Yeah, it's
They're
the
dumping
Skid Row.
trash
Yeah.
everywhere.
It's just a disaster. And there's this tiny, struggling florist shop there. And this guy named Seymour works there, just struggling to get by. It's just him, his boss, and like the floral arranging girl, Audrey, who he's had the biggest crush on forever. And he picks up this weird little plant. It looks like a Venus flytrap or something. It's got this like bulb head. And he's like, I think it's cool. I think it could like bring people into the store if only like it would thrive. I can't get it to thrive. And he like accidentally like pricks his thumb on like a rose thorn and it's drawing
Perks up.
blood. And the plant wants the blood. So he
Banana.
starts he starts feeding the plant blood and it grows bigger and bigger until it's this huge site and everybody comes from all around. Like the florist shop just blows up because there's so many people coming by
Yeah.
and he becomes this like local celebrity and he starts to like win the heart of the girl in the flower shop, but she has this terrible boyfriend that he has to get out of the way first. And
Steve Martin.
yep. The plant's like, and the plant can talk also. The plant
Yeah.
can talk and sing. The plant's like, yo, feed me him. And Seymour's like, I can't feed you him. He's a real living person. The plant's like, no, he's terrible. He's a monster. He's plant food. So this is, you know, just a fun romp about like murder.
Yeah. Murder and gardening.
Murder and gardening. Yes, those things. And it's just like campy and weird, but like all the performances are really good. The music's really good. Kyle, this is the same musical team that did The Little Mermaid. Howard, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. Yep. Same guys, Kyle.
That's wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I like that's a whole new world, no pun intended, that I don't know about. Just like because I know there's like even within the like YouTube world or like the comics industry, like all of these little like creative outlets and stuff like that, they're all so small and tight knit, and everyone knows each other and stuff like that because they all go to the conventions and they all, you know, and like that's one that I don't know about. And so I mean I guess that would make sense too of like all of these composers and musical people like, oh, you guys did the Little Mermaid one, oh cool, yeah, blah blah blah, we did this. Like, oh yeah, I saw that, I know who you are.
Yeah, they actually did this before they did The Little Mermaid. So I guess Disney's
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
we saw your work on the Evil Plant movie. Please come do this mermaid
now we have an
princess
evil
movie
underwater
for us."
mermaid movie. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I'm, like I said, usually not one for musicals and stuff like that, but this is good.
Yeah, I'm glad. And did this remind you of anything? Like,
Yes.
if somebody liked this, what else would they like, Kyle?
Oh,
Or like, or
I
just
was
like,
thinking something else, which I will get into in spoilers of just like
okay.
this reminded me of something in particular, and I think it's why I
Okay.
liked it so much. But it's
Uh-huh.
not like it's not a book or anything, not really. I would say if you liked this, what would this remind you of? I don't know.
I've
I-
got some.
I was even gonna just say if you want more Rick Moranis, go watch like Spaceballs or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
go put
it's not
it's your
it's
Ghostbusters.
not a musical, though they do make a joke about Spaceballs the musical in there. I think,
Hmm.
but yeah, Rick Moranis is good, and I don't. I mean, he hasn't been in anything since I forget exactly why he like stopped.
I
Um,
I think he just like I think maybe his wife died or something, and
it was
he just
yeah,
went
it
off
was
to be like a
something.
dad for a while.
Yeah. But he's so good, and I forgot how
Yes,
good he is and stuff. So
yes.
go watch more Rick Moranis stuff. Go watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I came up with some other musicals, like stage musicals.
Okay.
Somebody could go see if they liked this because like seeing live theater is amazing. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like whenever I get the opportunity,
Oh,
I go do it. Oh,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
okay.
Because
Yeah.
the plant, I forget the guy who voiced him, has the same type of voice if it's not the same person, because they sound super similar.
Okay. So the voice of the plant in this movie is like an old musician named Levi Stubbs, which is like the best name.
I think I heard of the band he was from, but I don't remember it off the
I
top
think
of
it's
my
the
head.
Four Tops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
them. I've heard of them. I
Yeah.
don't know any other stuff, but
Dad music. The Oogie Boogeyman in A Nightmare Before Christmas is an actor named Ken Page, who is actually a local St. Louis actor who
oh, cool.
does a lot of local St. Louis theater.
So
And
okay,
he
I see
was
where you're
the voice
going
of
with this.
Audrey 2 the last time like the local theater did Little Shop of Horrors.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same type of music when each of them like do their songs. When Audrey
Yeah.
two and Oogie Buggy do their stuff, it's that same
Hmm.
type of like Louisiana blues rock type of
Yeah.
thing. Um, so that's neat. Go watch that too. But you were mentioning some more musicals.
Yeah, these are some musicals I've seen on stage, and I don't think there's any filmed adaptations of them out there for you to watch like there is with this, but
There might be
if you
something
can
on
find them,
YouTube, like a
yeah,
local
you know,
performance somewhere.
find them in your local theaters. Theater's great.
Collect all
If
seven.
you like kind of this like 1950s like aesthetic and era of music,
Mm-hmm.
there is an Elvis jukebox musical called All Shook Up, where just all of the songs are
All shook up.
Elvis songs. Yes. And I saw this last summer and I had no idea what to think about it because, frankly, like it doesn't have to be good to be popular because people love Elvis so much, but the show was actually so much fun. And it's loosely framed around the Shakespearean story of Twelfth Night, which is a story of like a girl goes undercover as a boy and then like somebody falls for her as the boy, but then there's a boy she has a crush on and it's just crazy like a weird messed up love triangle where like
Interesting.
everybody's in love with everybody else and like somebody writes a love letter and it goes to the wrong person and it gets misinterpreted and it's
Damn
just
you,
like this
United
big
States Postal Service.
it's just this big like romantic comedy like mishap.
Uh huh.
So this is like a 1950s Elvis like big A-line skirts and like grease up pompadours. It's that. And it's
Okay.
actually super fun.
There you
Like,
go.
even if you're not an Elvis fan, like the story of this musical is just like a really sweet good time. And
That makes
if you
sense.
want something weird, Kyle, are you familiar with Batboy?
I yes, maybe.
You know, from the Weekly World News, that like completely fake tabloid
I'm
magazine.
familiar
You've
with
seen the picture
Batman.
that's like have you ever seen the picture that's like Batboy found in cave and it's this photoshopped like baby with their
Moment,
mouth
real.
stretched out? It's this photoshopped baby with like big eyes and like bat ears and their mouth stretched out like
Yeah.
Batboy.
Didn't they make a
Some
play based off of that too?
Yes, yes, there is another off-Broadway production called Batboy the Musical
Okay.
that I have seen and is also like really well done, like beyond just being this gimmick. It's just weird and dark and the music's good and I don't know, it's a little goofy, but not like a total comedy. I don't
Okay.
know, it's another
It's
It's
a
more horror.
tabloid musical.
Yes, yes. It's like more horror based than like Little Shop would be. But
Okay.
yeah, if you can find a local theater around you that is doing Batboy the Musical, check it
Sweet.
out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, housekeeping before we get into spoiler stuff.
Yes.
It right now is just the usual shenanigans. Go like, share, subscribe on all the social medias, sell your soul, do whatever you have to do. We could absolutely use your help to get the word out there. I think on Twitch we're sitting at like 25 followers right now, which is very small. And we're hoping to get to 50. Same thing for our YouTube channel.
Hmm.
I think we're heading at like 30 or 31, somewhere around there, hoping to get to 50. So twitch.tv/the Whatnauts or thewhatnauts.com/live streams is where you can find our Twitch. And
Yeah.
if you just search the Whatnauts podcast, on YouTube, you will find us on there. So go help us out, because that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
There was no episode of the Captain's Log from this past week, but if you still haven't gone and checked out our previous episode of that, go check out the Captain's Log as well. That was a lot of fun. Melissa, you were on that episode as well.
They're talking about more St. Louis stuff, which is mostly what I like to do.
Yes. We named that one Murder Cycle. So go check it out if you want to find out what the murder cycle is. But yeah, that is all the housekeeping I have. So spoiler warning in full effect. We're about to dive into this and rip it to shreds. And no, she's like, "Oh God, you hated it. You really hated it." No, we're just about to potentially spoil things if you have not seen this yet. So go watch Little Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis and everyone else. Ellen, whatever her name was. I don't
Ellen
know
Green.
her.
She is.
I was going to ask what else is she in, because I don't know her.
She was one of the ants in Pushing Daisies, which I know you haven't seen, but that's also like kind of a sci-fi dark comedy, slightly musical murder-based show. So it makes sense that she would
was
be
in
there.
Does she have the same accent? That
Uh,
same like high-pitched New
I think
York
she's also got kind of
squealy
like
accent?
a high, breathy voice, but it's not like the same like New York accent that Audrey has.
That was like the one thing I hated about this movie. I was like, I hate her voice. Oh my God, I can't stand it. It's so high pitched and it's so squealy, and she's so just like, it's a musical, so I can see that they're all like overacting and stuff like that, you know. So it's like I understand that part, but she's overacting this accent and this like high pitched, like hyper feminine, just character, and I'm just like, ugh, this is not for me.
Yeah, I can see how that might be like it's a great performance, but it
Yeah.
would be a lot for your ears after a while.
Yeah, she does a good job, and I think hers was the most noticeable when whoever did her like songs.
No, I think it's still her. Like I think
Really?
everybody did their own singing. It might be like pre-recorded and they're like lip syncing to it. I don't know that part, but yeah, they're all singing.
It might be that. It was one of those things where the accent changed.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, now you're in a completely different octave that I don't think that character would have been able to get just speaking normally, you know. So yeah, that was she was the one that whatever they did there to get the music in, it was the one that was most noticeable.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was about to say something of like what this kind of reminded me of, and I'm just gonna jump right to that.
Yes.
So I think one of the reasons why I ended up liking this so much was because I now really just want a version of Little Shop of Horrors set in Gotham City with Harley Quinn, the Joker, and Poison Ivy. And it's perfect.
That's why you like this.
It was perfect. I was like, that's like Steve Martin's character is the Joker. Ellen Green's character is Harley. She has that like New York accent, like puddin', and then there's Poison Ivy, who like like if Poison Ivy was this small, unassuming, like lesbian woman that looked like Rick Moranis, which would be amazing. Then wouldn't it be great? Then like I want that as a graphic novel or like an animated movie, just like Little Shop of Horrors in Gotham. It would be amazing. It would fit perfectly. So yeah, I was like, I can't unsee this. Like
I never even thought about that.
Yeah. It was I just, I mean, it's one of those things. At first I was like, I miss Rick Moranis, man. Like, he was so good in all of this stuff. He looks like he's so cool. He's a complete dork, but he's like, it's just, I want to be Rick Moranis, you know.
He's something good to aspire to, I think. You can always count on Rick Moranis.
And it wasn't until I saw Steve Martin's character, where he's this like biker greaser type of character who then turns out to be a dentist.
Yes.
But he's basically Elvis. Like, his character is Elvis, but then when he gets into his like sadistic dentist role, he takes the laughing gas for himself, and so he's just like maniacally laughing as he's like hurting people and stuff, and he has this like odd smile, and his hair is all disheveled. I'm like, that's the Joker. Like,
now I really want to see Steve Martin play the Joker.
I mean, this was made in '86, right? Batman the Animated Series didn't really come out until like '91, something like that. Though I know the Joker character was more based off of the Trickster that Mark Hamill did in the live-action Flash show in 1990. But yeah, it was one of those things like, that's could have been inspiration for some of the animated features. Interesting. Who knows if that is true or not, but it is headcanon now.
Were you surprised when he turned out to be a dentist? Because like I said, I saw this movie for the first time when I was like 8. And so all of this is just, I'm used to it. And I'm like, oh, that's probably a weird turn for somebody who has never seen this movie before.
So he does the thing where he's going to work, and he like rips off his biker jacket, and it's this song about his mom like wanted him to be a dentist and stuff like that. And I think I know someone who had referenced, or I had heard some kind of reference to this song before, or something similar. And I guess I missed the first couple lines, or I was like thinking in my own head of like, oh, I remember this one thing from, you know, something. I missed the first couple of lines, and I thought he was talking about like how his mom wanted him to be a dentist, but he's not.
Oh. And
then I'm like, oh, he's that man is a dentist. Yes. And then the line from Toy Story comes up. It's like, I don't think he's been to medical school. You know, like I don't think that man is actually a doctor.
He is the Sid of this movie.
Truly. He is. But yes, I mean, so it was one of those like he actually is a dentist. Okay, that's like. I'm here for it. Let's go. But
Yeah.
I guess since you've seen it so many times, it's kind of lost the surprise for
Uh,
you some.
well, I watched the movie like when I was a kid, but mostly like we had the soundtrack. And so I listened to the soundtrack a lot because like we went on a lot of road trips when I was a kid. And like we're so little, like we have no sense of like our own music taste, but we want something to listen to.
Sure.
So dad gave us just a bunch of soundtracks for movies we had seen. So I've listened to this so much that I know the musical parts really well, but the stuff outside of that I always forget about. Like I'm always like, oh yeah, John Candy is in this movie, and he's playing a character named Wink Wilkinson. And you would think somebody with my own name would stick out to me, but no, I'm like, oh yeah, John Candy's in this, Bill Murray's in this, Jim Belushi. I forget about completely every time. Like
He
I
had a
remember
fantastic
that I don't
character.
remember John Candy and Bill Murray, but I'm always shocked by Jim Belushi walking in at the end.
Yeah. What was his character's name?
Who?
Jim Belushi.
Oh, I
It
don't know.
it was so when they said his name, because I mean, he's at the dentist and he just looks
Oh
giddy
no.
to.
Oh, Bill Murray was the guy at the dentist. His name
Oh,
was Arthur Denton.
yeah. So Arthur. So this whole like Gotham thing, when they said Denton, I was like, wait, did they say Dent? Is he fucking Two-Face? Like,
Oh,
just
man.
but
Where's our Bill Murray as Two-Face movie?
yeah, like this it's perfect
Oh,
for this thing. Um, and but yeah, so I had to look it up, and it was just like, oh, okay, they said Denton. It's not Dent. It's not Harvey Dent. It's Arthur Denton. But yeah, it was one of those things I had to like pause it and go back. What did they say? Like,
they're like this is such a strong musical. Like I said, it's got like such a well-respected musical team behind it.
mhm.
But I it was nice to sit down and watch the actual movie instead of just listening to the soundtrack again because all the little bits in between are also really good. Like when that first customer comes into the flower shop after they put like little Audrey 2 in the window and he's like, "Hello, I came in to see your strange and interesting plant."
Yeah,
And that guy is Christopher Guest, who's become like one of my favorite directors. He did like Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show and all these movies I love that you might not know, but you might know him from he's in Spinal Tap.
I at
He's one
least
of the guys
know
in,
Spinal Tap.
he's one of the guys in Spinal Tap, and he's the six-fingered man in The Princess Bride.
Okay, that I've seen.
That's that guy, and he's so funny. And like I had no idea, like this was my first ever exposure to him as a kid, because it's just like it's so entertaining while you're watching it, but there's just so much other stuff going on in the movie that you forget it's there until you're watching it again, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy, this weird like consumerist man droid that's like, I will take $50 worth of roses while I am here. You
Do you
can't
have
break a 50?
Yeah, you have chains for 100. It's that like 50s advertising aesthetic mixed with like the like Leave It to Beaver style
Yes.
family. Like everything is just too perfect for some of
Yes.
these characters. Um,
I think the 50s like is a really good time to have this set because the 50s was this era of legitimate prosperity and also like the illusion of prosperity. So you've got it is such an advertising filled era. And I like that Audrey's character during the whole Somewhere That's Green song,
mhm.
like she's naming so many specific things. Like, I'm going to cook like Betty Crocker. We're
Yeah,
going to have our TV dinners, in front of our television. Like, it's also like materialistic and specific, but she's saying it so genuinely. Like, she can't wait to have like, this
just
brand
can't
of
wait to be a
dishwasher.
housewife.
Yes, yes. And
To the tune of The Lion King. Just can't wait to be king. Now just can't wait to be a housewife.
and the song, I feel like, and a lot of the tone of this movie is kind of a commentary on the era of the 50s and that
Yeah.
like super glossy like advertising and just capitalism and just like prosperity and get a better car than your neighbors have. But
Yeah.
it's sort of making fun of that time period without really making fun of the people who lived there, except for Christopher Guest, like, well, if you can't break 100, I'll just buy $100 worth of roses. Like, the movie looks at Audrey's adoration of like these specific branded things with this sort of affection. Like, oh, it's not her fault that she's so kind of vapid about this. That's just when she lived. Isn't it sweet that she wants this life with this man she likes?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very sweet song, and it is something like I think about more as I get older. Like, you know what? You're right. I don't want to go to bed at 9:15, but otherwise, that sounds good. And like in my
Maybe
dreamy
9:30.
yeah, in my dreamiest times where like some handsome man walks past me and smiles, like deep within my soul, I just hear Ellen Green singing a fence of real chain link. Like that is the sound of my like longing for a domestic life. It's
That's amazing.
real. Like it's so goofy, but it does hit this like real emotion within you. Like, yeah, I don't just want this. It's not a big, grandiose form of love. It's no, I'll cook dinner for him and he'll mow the lawn and we'll take care of the kids. Like it's so beautifully simple. Like I love that number and I love it more as I get older.
That's funny. What did you think of them having the two separate beds once they finally showed their room?
I love it. I love how
Two separate beds. It's
spot
amazing.
on like weird 1950s. Like they've got everything there.
It's so funny. That was one of the moments that I laughed out loud. I was like, "Ha! There's two beds."
Yeah. Yeah, I like this is a fairly like chaste movie in terms of their relationship, and I liked that. Like he thinks, oh gosh, Audrey's pretty, but like the fact that she wears all these skimpy outfits doesn't play into it. He's not like, oh boy, she leaned too close to me and her shirt was real low cut. Like it's nothing
there,
like that.
there's when we watched Young Frankenstein, right? That's like
Yes,
that's
yes.
that almost the exact opposite of that, where they like lift her out of the thing and her boobs are like right there. They're just like, oh hey.
I I did love all of Audrey's outfits in this movie because they are like real, just over the not super skimpy, but just like really low cut and like really close fitting, and like her boobs are pushed all the way up.
Yeah.
And it's not like her evil boyfriend, the dentist, is like making her wear this stuff. Like, you don't get the impression, oh, she's wearing it for him, or she's wearing it because, oh, well, this will help me catch a husband. And if I catch a husband, then I can get out of Skid Row. Like, it really seems like she's wearing them for herself. Like, that's what
Because she
she
wants
likes.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like, again, this is more stuff like I think about as I get older. Like, you go, Audrey. If you want to wear a super low cut, skin
Yeah.
tight cheetah print dress and dream of this pastel housewife home, do it. Live both.
Yeah. Well, because she kind of finds out that what's his name is dead, Steve Martin's character.
His name's Orphan Scrivello, I think. We can just call him the dentist. Everyone does.
The dentist. Crentis the dentist. Little office reference. But yeah, when she finds out and like she has that crying fit of like, oh no, what has my life become and stuff like that, you do find out a little bit more about her backstory, and it does seem like she like used to be a stripper or did something along those lines, but now she's not, and she has that line of like, I didn't even used to wear outfits like this, but now I do, to like hope to like better myself. Like it's not yeah, like you said, it's not to like get men to hit on her or something. It's because
Yeah.
because she wants to feel better about herself.
Yeah. She used to be like a cocktail waitress at the sleazy bar, and she says, "They used to make me wear cheap outfits, not nice ones like these."
Yeah.
Like I feel that, yes.
They for as the unsexualized as the like that like their relationship is.
Yeah.
One of the first jokes in the movie is kind of the opposite of that. When we first learn that the plant wants blood,
Yeah.
and the woman walks in at the radio station and
Yeah.
is like bending over just a little bit, and that's when the plant perks up. Just like, it's a period joke. It's a period joke. This is terrible. Why would you do this? Like,
Yeah, I was really struck by on this viewing, like even the dentist like isn't that like his relationship with Audrey isn't that sexual. Like it is, but it's less than you would think. And the horniest character in the movie is the space plant. Like the space plant has these tendrils just wrapping all over everybody. Like Audrey and Seymour, the both of them.
The
Like this
space plant was definitely a power bottom.
Yeah. The space plant's like so predatory.
Yeah.
And like it's making you do the actual like food gathering predatory stuff for it, but like in terms of the other use of that word, oh boy, that plant's so skeevy.
Feed me.
But I also like that they're like so innocent, like Seymour and Audrey, that they're just like, whoa, what are you doing? When the like vine like wraps around their waist or something, like they're not reading it like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, I went there. The chat is freaking out. I went there. The plant is a power bottom. Yeah. But yeah. So what was something else that you wrote in your notes? Yes, it's just you, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
I see you in there.
I didn't take notes for this one because I'm like, well, I know this so well. But I kept a log of mental notes. Like another thing I wanted to say, this is something like I noticed about the movie the first time I watched it when I was like 8 years old. Because I feel like it was a big joke in things in the 90s that there would be like a tough guy, and then you would find out they've got like a really feminine name, like, don't call me Leslie, my name is Slick. Like, do you remember that kind of joke that was around a lot in the 90s?
Yep.
And I always admired that you've got this like masculine plant that has a feminine name, and like there's no joke about that. Like nobody mentions it. The plant doesn't seem to care that it's been saddled with a feminine name. I don't know. I always thought that was like weirdly progressive. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an Alien.
Yeah.
I don't know how alien genders work. I barely know how human gender works. So
yeah, I like that about the plant, that it's like, but I don't care. You know, call me whatever you want.
Yeah, that's funny. So here's with the whole like Gotham thing. That
yes.
That aside, how do you feel like this would play out as a more like serious story? Because that's something I thought about too. Like if you took the music or like the musical out of this, like do you think it would still fit? It would still work well, or is it just like, well, what's the point now? Because there's no happy fun song dance time thing.
I think the music really puts the weird horror stuff like in a good contrast. Like I've heard the original just like black and white B horror movie this was originally based off of like isn't that entertaining or anything like that. Like it's kind of dull. So that's why people like just took the concept of it and then dressed it up a whole bunch and made it this fun stage show. Okay. Oh, there's an alternate ending to this movie. Did you know that?
No.
Like Frank Oz originally wanted like, and I think this is how the stage show ends. Like Jim Belushi comes in at the end and he's like the salesman and he wants to take like little clippings of the plant and make other little plants and just send them like that's like the new toy this year, like your own little Audrey tree for you to grow. And he's like, this could be in thousands of households across the US. And they're like, thousands of households all across the country, we have to stop that. In like the original cut of the movie, that happens, and like Audrey too like grows huge into this kaiju almost. And
Yes.
like
So that's the one that I saw. That's the original one, right?
that's the director's cut of it. And like
Okay, then
I'm
that's what I
used to
must have
the
watched.
yeah, I'm
Which
used
was
to
it
the
was a lot
theater.
of fun. I was like, I like this. This is
Yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic. It's wild.
Yeah, I like the theatrical cut. Like that's the one I grew up watching, and like I own like a really nice Blu-ray set of this movie because I like it so much, and it's got both cuts of it in there. And I've watched the director's cut before,
Hmm.
but I like the theatrical cut better, where like
So
they do destroy Audrey 2 at the end, and they do go have that picket fence life. Which do you think you would like better?
so
Well, you didn't see it, I just described it to you, but
so Audrey won. That's
the
weird to
lady.
call her that. Yeah. She survives then in the
Yeah.
theatrical release. Interesting. Okay. Um, I don't know. Because I really like what they did with the director's cut ending. Then the one that I saw,
I
it
think the effects of it
reminded
are cool.
yeah, it reminded me of what we just watched, American Werewolf in London, where at the end
Yeah.
it goes to
Yeah.
shit and everything is going crazy and there's car accidents and bodies flying out the window and stuff. And this is just like, yeah, like what if it ends like a Godzilla movie, but there's like
Yes.
5 Godzillas and everyone's running and dying and there's like screaming and fire and explosions and the end in bright funky colors. It's like I kind of like that. It just but
So for
I guess the whole kaiju aspect isn't really what I necessarily liked the most. I liked
yeah.
the tragedy of the like, hey, we can finally be together and escape and do all of this, and then it doesn't happen at the end. Like that felt more right. It felt more theatrical, more Shakespearean, more I don't know, Greek
So
tragedy kind
so
of thing.
you watched the more serious version of the movie and asked me if I would like it to be even more serious than that. And I'm like, no, Kyle, I watched the shiny, happy version, and that's the one I like.
I didn't
Because
know.
no, I just think it's funny. And like I forgot to check with you like which version you were watching because I didn't know like which one would be more widely available, the theatrical cut or the director's cut, but I knew them both. So I figured I could talk about either.
There you go.
Like the director's cut, like it's entertaining. It looks very good. Like the effects are fantastic. Like I
Yeah,
definitely recommend like you find that footage somewhere and you watch it. But
it's
like
better. Don't listen to her.
yeah, I prefer the theatrical happy ending. I think because these are characters we have seen struggle so much and like they don't Seymour does not have enough faults to deserve an ending that bad. Like he really fights against like, no, I
Just
can't kill the
murdering
dentist.
a
Like,
couple people. He's fine though.
yeah. Like he really does not want to. And it's like he only kills the dent and he doesn't even kill the dentist. Like he goes to the dentist and the dentist kills himself with the laughing gas on accident.
Hmm.
And then Seymour's just like, well, I've got this dead body now. I might as well feed it to the plant. Like he fights so much, he struggles so much, and he just wants like he doesn't want fame and fortune. Like he gets it
Right.
and he never likes it. He turns it all away. He's like, I just want they both want the same thing, which
It makes
I
a
really
better
like.
villain.
No, no,
It makes a better villain.
if he was greedy, if he did take that turn, like, why, yes, I will take the room at the Ritz wrapped in velvet covered in glitz, maybe then it would feel like narratively, okay, you've earned the disaster ending. But like, him and Audrey are too pure. Like, it felt too dark for me. Like, I get it, it's entertaining, it's like shocking, but I don't like it's like the theatrical ending sits better with me. And I also love the idea of they escape out to this world and like to have this idyllic 1950s like neatly mown lawn and white picket fence and like big pastel dress with an apron and like Seymour's got like a beer gut and he's just like mowing the lawn and fixing the car and just living this normal life. But oh yeah, we did escape this like evil carnivorous space plant once. Like I love that idea. I like the way that idea fits with like the rest of the movie, that this would go on to just be like a blip in their otherwise normal 1950s lives.
So earlier on you mentioned you thought this was also kind of a comment on the whole like 1950s advertisement, capitalism era, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's also kind of why I think the director's cut ending is better, because it is yet like even more of a comment on that, rather than just like, let's just escape it all and live a happily ever after. It is this thing of like, hey, like we've created this monster, now everyone wants it, they're buying it up, and here's it's still destroying us, right? So I to me that just speaks out a little more than like leave it to Beaver.
I like that Seymour and Audrey like escape that, like they don't fall into that capitalistic trap or anything like that. And they go off to this world, and like I love Somewhere That's Green because it's all the best parts of that like hyper branding.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't want Betty Crocker because it's like, well, it's been tested to be the best cake on the market and it's so much better than Duncan Hines, and you want to make a better cake than Shirley at the book club, don't you? It's like, oh, it's like a nice thing I can make for my family. Like she believes in the best of just products and goods for people. And I like that like you can get out of it. Like you can escape from the skid row of materialism and just live in a better version of that. You can utilize it better.
But
I don't know.
Wouldn't that still be materialism though? That she's wanting these I mean, it's still like, yeah, I think down in her heart, she wants the best for other people as well. Like I think she wants to live the type of life where she can help people and she can make them happy. But in I guess maybe a more subconscious kind of way, she is being like, well, to do that, I need more things. I need the name brand things. I need the Better Home and Garden white picket fence and the Easy Bake oven and all the workout machines to make my butt bigger and all that.
She also grew up with nothing, so like it's completely understandable like that she wants like, oh, I could have a name brand something, and it's like, yeah, you should have a name brand something. You've earned a name brand something. And I like the theatrical version because it seems more like the world is bad, but you can still be good if you think about everything in this like very domestic, sweet state of mind. If you try and do the best for people, if you like really strive to get out without like throwing that many people under the bus beneath you, like it's possible to be good in a bad world. Like I don't know if it's better, but I like the optimistic theatrical ending of this, like theatrical release of the movie ending better. Because like I said, the actual stage play, that version of theatrical, the stage play ends with the more director's cut version, I think. Well, I guess because the play came first, the director's cut follows the original stage play. And I did want to talk a little bit about how stage adaptations of this work.
Okay.
Or well, I guess this is an adaptation of the stage version, but I always think about it the other way because like I knew the movie before I'd ever gotten to see it in the theater. And another reason I love this movie so much is that I think it is the best version of this story, because this isn't, except for the plant, this isn't a show with a lot of spectacle to it.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have like
amazing.
Yeah, the plant creature is like all of those like practical special effects, all that puppetry is fantastic. And it's always really impressive whenever I've seen it in a live stage show too. It's always like, oh, I'm so excited to see this big puppet.
I wonder if the like schematics are online. Like, here's how to make your own Audrey 2.
Yeah, there's actually there's a local university whose theater department like built a really high quality Audrey 2 and
That's amazing.
a dentist chair because that's not something everybody could come up with. And they rent those out to like high school productions that do not have the budget or know how to do it. So like if you see local high school productions of Little Shop of Horrors, like you're just seeing the same puppet in the same dentist chair over and over again
Yeah.
because like one college is like, okay, we did all the work for you. But this story I think is very well suited to be a movie because the times I've seen it on a stage, even like a slightly smaller like high school auditorium stage instead of like a big professional theater, there's never enough of it to like fill the stage because except for the big plant and like there's a
The
skid.
sets are small.
Yeah, like Skid Row is a fairly big number. You can have a big crowd of people around Seymour
Which,
and the Meek Shall Inherit number, but
side note on this, that first like Skid
yeah.
Row number, the way the song ends is really creepy because they're like out on the street looking up at the camera, but they're not
Hmm.
actually looking up. They're like looking below it, and then their eyes are looking up, so they have this
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna
Yes.
murder you," like, like
I
just
love
this
that
weird like
opening
what,
number.
like that's creepy. Like I don't know, but
Oh, I
carry
think
on.
that's a really good opening number, and I can talk more about like the musical numbers later. But there's not a lot of big spectacle in the show except for the puppet, and the puppet itself is like tall, but it's not that wide. It's just like every time I've seen it live, even in like the highest quality professional production, it's like this feels like there's not enough of this to fill the stage. Like this feels small, it feels off. They try and like this isn't a show meant for like big choreography or anything like that. So like it never quite feels right in a stage,
Interesting.
even if everybody's doing a fantastic job. Like it just doesn't seem like that's where it fits. So I think the movie's like such a good version of it. And like of course I'll go see this play like anytime I can see it live just because I love it so much. But the movie I think will always be my favorite and perhaps the best adaptation of the story in any form.
Okay. Interesting. I feel like it would work just fine. I haven't seen it,
Maybe I
obviously.
just need to see it in like a black box or something. And like it sounds like a small thing that I keep talking about the scale of it, but like having seen so many big stage musicals, like to see one that's like very small like that and doesn't have like real impressive choreography, like they're just not
Well, because we
utilizing the stage very much just by the nature of the show and how it
I
works.
so I feel like it's more of like a story based
Yeah.
one than like,
Yeah.
hey, let's do all these theatrical stuff to like
Yes.
entertain people and make a big spectacle. Um, but I feel like it would work really well on a smaller stage.
Yeah.
I don't know much about theater or anything like that, but even the three singers in the movie that are like
Yes.
the kind of narrators
Yes.
is kind of like the chorus or the fates in like
Yes.
Greek plays where they are the ones narrating what's happening on the stuff. And so like in my mind it kind of fits that mold. Like I imagine it being
Hmm.
in this little small amphitheater
Yes.
and things just working there. You kind of just have to use your imagination to
Hmm.
expand these sets and do stuff like that. But yeah, it is, as the name implies, a little shop of
Yeah.
horrors.
I'd really like to see this in a black box theater sometime, which
What
I
does
don't know
that
if you
mean?
a black box theater is a small, it's like a small enclosed theater that usually doesn't seat that many people, and it's not that big, and sometimes it might be like in the round where you're all around the stage, or like you surround the stage on like three sides of it,
Uh-huh.
and it's smaller and it's more intimate, and usually the
Okay.
rooms are painted like entirely black or something like
Interesting.
that. Like, and most like schools have a black box theater. Like where I went to school, they had like the big theater where they could
Mm-hmm.
do like the Broadway level stuff. And then like the black box was where I saw Batboy the Musical. And I think this is a show like meant for black boxes, and I have not seen it there yet. So seeing it on a big stage, just like, oh, there's not enough of you to fill this. Like, oh, like it just makes it feel weird that it's almost like drowning in the scale of the place it has been put. When I'm
Interesting.
used to it completely filling up my TV screen at
So
home.
maybe the problem is the stages you've seen it at,
Yeah.
like the stages themselves are
Hmm.
bigger than what's required, and if you saw it on like at an actual smaller stage,
That I think
would that help?
I think it would, but also I think just the movie's got this liveliness to it that I've never quite seen translate to the stage. And it might be like Frank Oz's direction and all the performers he has and just like all the extra stuff that he throws in there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I just
Interesting.
really love this movie, and I'll always go see the stage play, but I've yet to be impressed quite with a stage adaptation. Like nothing comes close to standing up to the movie for me. And I don't know if it's nostalgia or if it is like there's some practical limitation that is like keeping
Okay.
the stage play from reaching what the movie can do. I don't know.
Interesting. Musical numbers. What was your favorite?
Oh, I really like them all. I don't know how much you know like musical theory, but they're like musical theater theory. There's something called the I Want
Over my
song.
head. The I won or I want?
The I Want song. This is the
Okay, I
song that
want.
usually comes at the beginning. Like using the Little Mermaid as an example, that's her part of your world song. Like Earth's
What she wants to have
yes.
happen.
Yes. And so this movie does that a lot. Like most songs are wanting songs. Like Skid Row is the song for Seymour and Audrey and for like their entire setting around them. And then she's got Somewhere That's Green, that's
Mm-hmm.
her like own personal dreams.
Right.
And then there instead of an I Want song, like the plant gives Seymour like the You Want sort of song, like this tempting song. Oh, like it's a musical with a lot of numbers about like desire. Like you get songs about wanting things, songs about being offered things.
Why
The
he's a
dentist song.
fucking power bottom. He's not saying what he wants. He's trying to incept the idea into you want to do this to me.
Like the dentist song is like a song from somebody who has like already gotten what they want.
Yeah.
Like he's on top of the world. He doesn't want anything else. He's like, I like my life. I'm good at it. End of the thing. And like, I like the way this musical uses that classic template and just sort of duplicates it and like folds it back on itself.
Cool. I think for me, I liked Suddenly Seymour.
Yes.
That's a really good song.
Beautiful song.
Especially because they have not because they're not necessarily singing over each other. They're not
Yeah.
like singing different
Yeah.
things at the same
Duet.
time.
Yeah.
But it is more of a duet. You do get multiple perspectives in that song. And then at the end, they match up.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I like that song a lot, especially because like this isn't a story of a nerd wins over a pretty girl. She already likes him, and that song happens after
She
he
just
is
thinks like she doesn't deserve someone
yeah,
like him.
yeah, and like this is just happens after like actions have been taken, and like the dentist kills himself, and Seymour like really does away with him. And ultimately, Audrey makes the choice to say, you know what? No, I'm not that sad about it. Like, I'm glad he's gone. Like, it feels earned.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he came in there and swooped in and took care of her problems for her. And it's like, look, I did a nice thing and now you like me. Like, they always liked each other. He was always nice. And like, he just kind of laid some things into action that like she could have done it at any time. Like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm done with this guy. But it happens after he dies. And he dies kind of associated with Seymour. Like, he probably could have overdosed on his laughing gas at any point, but he does it like when Seymour comes into his office. And I don't know. Like, I feel like I just like that song. I like that it is earned and it doesn't fit into some obnoxious cliche like nerd wins over pretty girl
Yeah. And
storyline.
the name of the song is also kind of a double entendre too, right? Because like her eyes are being opened and suddenly she can see more, right?
Yeah.
Of just like, hey, there's more to this life than just like sitting here. Like, I actually do deserve this nice thing, you know? Like, I that makes sense for her character. But then his name is also Seymour, and so it's like suddenly you're noticing him. You got the hots for Seymour.
Which she always had. And this is like the moment where she's like, let's put this into action. Like, that's the action song for both of them, that both of them are like, I'm not letting the status quo stand anymore. Like, I'm going to do something to change it. I'm going to do something to express myself, to start to pave my way forward.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see. Was there any other songs that I wanted to talk? I don't think so. Um, I liked the tragedy of the director's cut and seeing her die and then things go to shit, because it also gives them an opportunity to, like, I mean, I don't know what happened in the theatrical version, since that's the one you watched, but they do kind of a reprise of the like something or somewhere
That's right. Yeah.
green song, and that kind of wraps it up really
Yeah.
nicely.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, she finally got what she wanted in a way, right?
Yeah.
Where she's finally with Seymour and she's happy, and
Hmm.
she's getting to die happy, right?
Yeah.
So
And the director cut has the numbers don't feed the plants. Is it in there?
I don't know.
Okay, that might be in the stage version because the stage version has like a final number where like everybody comes out after the big tragedy and it's like whatever they offer you, don't feed the plants.
That must not have been in the one that I watched, because they all went batshit to
Okay.
buy them up.
Yeah,
Let's buy all the plants. Let's feed the plants.
it's in the stage version, and like a recording of that was included on like the soundtrack CD for the movie I had when I was a kid. And it's like bonus track from the stage play.
So, Melissa, I know you're also not much of a video game player,
Nah.
but the new Super Smash Bros. Game should be coming out shortly after this
Yeah?
episode goes live, and one of the new Smash characters is the Piranha Plant.
Oh.
And so I just imagine that everything that happened in this movie is what happened at Nintendo, and why the Piranha Plant is finally in Smash. Like, he just took over, like, demanded blood, and was like, I need to be in Smash.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were just like, fine, well, don't eat us, you know, just let's keep it civil.
That's fun. Good.
You're like, I don't understand a word of that, but okay.
I like that idea. It's a weird modern retelling of, oh, I just want to be in a video game. Like, I want blood, and also please put me in Smash where I can fight, Captain Falcon.
Hey, you got that right. But yeah. what else? Final thoughts on
Ah,
this film? Anything else you wanted to dive into?
ah, check it out. Like I do my own, I'm trying to put my nostalgia aside. Like I think this is a very good movie. This is also a good one to show to a young person to get them into musicals because that's what my dad did to me when I was like 8, 9 years old. He sat me down. He's like, I love this movie. You're going to love this movie.
Yeah.
And he showed me like four musicals in a row. I think like 4 weekends in a row one time when I was a kid. And he showed me like real classic ones. Like, here's Guys and Dolls. Here's The Music Man. Here's West Side Story. Here's Little Shop of Horrors.
And
And like,
here's
I
how to
love
brainwash your children.
like I love them all, but I feel like Little Shop was the one that like cinched it for me because
Okay.
it is weird and it's funny and like the music's really strong. And like if your kid has seen like Little Mermaid, this will feel like this will kind of hit that same emotion like, oh, I like this music too. And like I don't know why.
It's
I don't
very
know.
catchy
Yes,
songs.
yes.
I've been humming the songs all day yesterday. I was sitting there
Yeah.
playing Pokemon, being
God. Yeah, and like it's got adult themes, but it's not like so adult you couldn't show it to like a 10-year-old.
yeah, yeah. It's good. It's a lot of fun. I mean, yesterday was my first time
Yeah.
watching it, and it holds up. I think it's
Hmm.
really good. We barely talked about Audrey 2 and the plant, but it looks amazing.
It
Like
does.
it look. I don't know how they made that happen, but it's
There's
magic, and I like that's one of the things is if you go back and you watch movies from around that time, there's a good handful of exceptions, but most of them are like, ugh, these effects don't hold up, or
Mhm.
this is very obviously this one, like that's very obviously a puppet and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And this, I mean, yeah, like it's not
Yeah.
a real thing, but for it to work the way it does, for it to have all of the like vine tendrils things, and for its mouth to move, and for
Yes.
people to fit inside it and like go down into it, and like it's just I don't know how they made. I'm sure they had multiple versions of the thing to make it look different ways and stuff like that, but it looks fantastic. I
And
think it really holds up. It's a lot of fun. The music is super catchy. Go check it
mhm.
out.
There's also one shot, like one final special effects shot I want to talk about. There's a shot from like inside somebody's mouth looking out at the dentist, and it is
Yes.
like, oh, they built a giant puppet mouth and put the camera inside and put Steve Martin on the
Yeah,
other
because at first
side.
I was like, oh, they must have just like done the green screen, but then he like
No,
sticks the thing
it's like a
inside. I was like,
puppet.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's like on the camera, like he's
Yeah.
sticking the dental thing, which might have even been like a giant dental thing. I couldn't really tell. The perspective was strange because you are looking out of the
Yeah.
mouth
Oh, yeah. And like it's
of.
gotta be like some weird tool that they custom made for the shot because it's gotta have like forced perspective to it or something.
Yeah, so it must have
That's
been
such a cool
bigger
shot.
on like one end and like
Yeah.
small enough for it to look like it's in his
Yeah.
hand there. It's fantastic.
Like this is such a good movie technically.
Yes.
It's worth watching for just the technical stuff alone, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's stuff like this, the makeup effects we saw when we watched American Werewolf in London a few weeks
Yeah.
back. Like those are all fantastic. If you go back and watch Jurassic Park, like that dinosaur looks amazing. You
Yeah.
know, um, and even like the old Star Wars stuff,
Hmm.
all of the puppets and stuff look amazing. Um, and I think this is one that you should check out if you want to go look at some old practical effects that are still amazing
Yes.
today. So, I think that kind of wraps us up for
Mm.
talking about Little Shop of Horrors. So it's my turn
Mm-hmm.
to pitch what we are going to do for this next week. I gotta close the Twitch app on my phone here for a sec so I can pull up my notes. So as always, I got 3 options for
Mm-hmm.
you to pick from. Um, I don't have a theme. I know you did a theme this
I like
past week.
themes.
Yeah, you like themes. I like themes every once in a while. I will be like, we're just gonna do all time travel stuff or something. But this week I do not have a theme, so I just picked 3 random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
First one, this is a series of graphic novels that I've seen, I've heard about. I haven't ever read them, and I've wanted to check them out for a while. So pitch number 1 is Copra, volumes 1 and 2.
Hmm.
I believe it's
Like,
Copra.
huh.
And from what I understand, this is kind of an indie comic version of Suicide Squad.
Oh.
It's like I don't know if it's superheroes. It looks like it is, but it looks like villains teaming up to go do some other like bigger score or something along those
Okay.
lines. I've heard good things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's all written and drawn by one person,
Mm-hmm.
Mikkel Fife, I believe. If I might be mistaken on that, but yeah, it looks good. I think in total there's currently like 6 volumes out, but I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
read the first 2 and check them out and see what was happening with those. Pitch number 2 is something I first watched it a year and a half ago,
Mm-hmm.
kind of based off of, I found a website that was like, here are a list of underrated animes that you should watch, and
Okay.
so I just started going through them. And this one was on there. It's called Quino's Journey. I think it's only 12 or 13 episodes, but it's about
Okay.
this young girl and her motorcycle who she can talk to. And they like travel around the world, stopping at all these different towns. Like it's usually each episode is a different town, and it's kind of this weird, like mysterious, like what is really happening in this town that we stopped at today? What's going on
Mm-hmm.
here? It's a much more quiet show. It's not very action packed. There is some action, but not in like Hollywood movie blockbuster type of way.
Yeah.
It's much slower pace, much more quiet, and it's a beautiful anime. I
Mm-hmm.
highly recommend it. I don't know if there's a manga version of it or not,
Ah,
but I've only seen the anime, and it's good.
well, I just Googled it and it looks like there's a couple like manga covers in here, but I'm
Okay,
mostly seeing anime stills.
cool, cool, cool. Um, so that was pitch number 2. Pitch number 3 is a brand new Netflix original movie from the Coen brothers called The
Oh,
Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
what?
Yeah. It's a Western, and it seems to be a vignette of like 6 short stories in one
Ooh.
film. Um, so I saw it on Netflix. I'm interested in that. The Coen brothers make some fantastic stuff. Um, and it's new. It came on Netflix like a week or 2 ago, something like that. Um,
Oh,
so that might be worth checking out.
okay. Very interesting set of picks.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
I'm really intrigued by Kino's journey because I Googled it and it does look beautiful. Like it's got this kind of Miyazaki feel to it, less in like the character designs, but more in like the settings and just like a little
The
girl and a form of transportation and a journey.
yes, yeah.
I'm intrigued by this Ballad of Buster Scruggs, especially because I don't like a Western isn't a genre I know very well. And I've been wanting to like explore more in like genres I don't know.
I thought about doing all Western stuff.
Ooh, oh, that'd be fun to do later down the line.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stalling for time, making sure that this Crunchyroll link works. Because I
That's
was also like,
a-okay.
well, which one of these things is easiest to obtain? And okay, it looks like Kino's Journey is pretty easy for me to watch, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Kino's Journey. I'm happy you picked this. I so before you and I were doing the review show,
Hmm.
and it was me and my friend Paul, and we had when it was just the Whatnauts
Hmm.
podcast way back in the day. I had pitched this one to him like 2 or 3 times, and it never got
Oh.
picked. And so I'm finally, because I like it's one of those shows that I saw and I watched. I was like, I want to talk about this with someone. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
fantastic. So cool. It's finally getting its time to shine.
Awesome.
Kino's Journey, and I mean, I don't know if you have a subscription to Crunchyroll or not,
I
but it
can get
sounds
one.
like it's on Crunchyroll. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere on the internet
Yeah.
too. It might even. I think at one point I saw it on Hulu. I'm not sure if it's on there or not. I could be wrong and talking out of my ass, so take that with a grain of salt. Um, but yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that for next week.
Yeah, that seems neat.
So take it home, Melissa.
All right. This has been the Whatnauts Review Show. You can join us next week. We'll be talking about Kino's Journey. That sounds like just a fun, sweet anime adventure with a cool motorcycle.
Yeah,
And remember, you can follow up.
motorcycle.
Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at the Whatnauts. You can go to thewhatnauts.com, check out our shows, to
Oh
past
yeah.
episodes. We've got a live streams page there. You can donate to our Patreon for as little as $1 a month and get episodes early.
Patreon.com/the Whatnauts.
Yes. Come check us out. Come give us a hand. We'd really appreciate it.
Give us all
And
your
you can
money.
we need to buy our own plants and name brand domestic goods.
Yes.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WilkyWit. That's WILKYWIT. And Kyle, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on both Twitter and Instagram.
All right. Thanks for joining us. You guys have a cool week.
Adios, guys.
Bye.
Bye.